Start with something called Lodash. Okay. Underscore and Lodash are basically synonyms. If you get the meaning, used underscore, you will actually know why it's called Lodash. Okay. So actually this is Lodash. The underscore character is also called a lower dash. That's why this library is called Lodash. Why it's called Lodash has a bit of history. So when people started using underscore, the variable name we usually gave it was this. So when they imported it and in the browser they loaded it as a global library, the variable name, just like jQuery is famous for its $sign, underscore is famous for its this character. So what happened is that underscore and the old school browsers were browser specific. In those days, JavaScript was more focused around the browsers. Okay, browser compatibility. Microsoft has launched Internet Explorer. Basically, nobody cared about that. Chrome came along, Firefox came along with the latest feature, and people will have to use a lot of workarounds to make that thing work on Internet Explorer. Right?
Right.
So, a lot of code people found them writing again and again. Right? Simple code. You have an array, you have to reverse it. You have a collection, you have to find the first 5 items. You have a collection, you have to sort it and get the last 5 items. You have a function, you have to do something really tricky with it. So, I know everybody has written a for loop in Java, everybody has done a for each in Java. Sometimes on some browser, for will break, or for each will not function, or for each will in fact get the keys instead of the values. So someone really thought that I should write a library that standardizes all of this. Developer shouldn't have to worry about these repeated tasks. So along came underscore, and underscore was pretty popular when there were browsers around. Then what happened that a guy called Rand Dahl wrote something called Node.js that simply revolutionized JavaScript. It wasn't just a front-end language. So Node.js basically gives you an entire environment, just like you expect from Java, C#, .NET framework. It gives you entire platform to do anything on an operating system. The file system, the cryptography, the sockets, the ports, the networking, the TCP, UDP, everything they put in it. So what happened that JavaScript also became a general purpose language, and with that lot of people started shipping their own module systems. Commerce.js, AMD.js, lot of module systems came along. And what happened, the same problem with the browsers started happening with the backends. So if someone was using AMD module systems, they loaded a bit differently, asynchronously. Some of the JavaScript features did not work. So finally, everything settled down to the common JS module system, which actually Node.js uses. And if you are aware about the ES6, it has built-in module system. You can make classes, you can write import statements and all that. So what happened is that another guy took underscore and made it generic and sophisticated. So Lodash is basically a successor of underscore that works on Node.js and browsers and is compatible to the most of the JavaScript runtimes, right? So if you might be wondering what Lodash is, that this variable was popularized by the functional library called underscore, and Lodash actually improves upon underscore. Okay, so right now I've taken a few names. Underscore Lodash, you might be wondering what is this? Why do I need to care about? I can write my JavaScript really nice. So let's see why we need actually Lodash or underscore. I wouldn't say need, because if you're a pro JavaScript guy or guru, you can just write your functions really correctly, right? You can be very elegant. You can write complex transformations in a few lines of code. But if you are still developing on JavaScript and want to do your work quickly, so you are not thinking in terms of for loops, you are thinking in terms of function compositions, transforms. What transforms I need to apply to the data so that I can get to the output. So you don't have to worry with how many for loops should I write? Should I nest them? Where should be the if else conditions and all that, right? So what underscore or lodash actually saves you from is repeating lines of code for trivial tasks. Writing a for loop and reversing an array and sorting it and getting the first item, or creating an object with specific keys, converting an array to object and object to array, right? So you might have to iterate over the keys, put them in an array, iterate over the values, put them in again in an array, combine those arrays. So this is time consuming, takes a lot of lines of code. And if you have, God knows, if you have to write it again and again, you say that I would need something. I wish JavaScript had this feature. I don't want to do this again and again. Another thing is, maybe you wrote that code again and again. But if 7th time you missed a for loop, or you put the index negative, or something like that, what is there to ensure that you know the procedure, but every time you write it, there are no mistakes, right? Third thing is that there are a lot of features JavaScript still misses. JavaScript is an awesome functional library, it's modular enough, but there are some data specific features it still misses. If you are aware about the latest JavaScript, it has put a lot of functions into array class, filter, map, sort, reduce. These are already there. You have generator functions, you have lambda, basically arrow functions, better closures, everything is there. But still, I'm not sure even 1/3 of code, production code, is written in ES6. There are things running in ES3 or 4, maybe 5, right? So I won't take much of your time. I'll quickly walk you through the most useful things you can use this library for. So basically, first only focus on the first line. So this is where we import stuff in Node.js. Require something. Okay, if you're using ES6, you can simply put constant underscore import lodash, right? Or if you're using older version and are on Node using the common JS module system, you write this line. So underscore is the variable, it contains the entire library, just like jQuery. Okay. After you imported it, so this is a nice example. You have a variable x, it's an array, it's array of objects. Each object has two properties, name and age, right? So if I tell find a object, find the two ages out of these array. So first you will write a for loop, okay? Then collect this into an array inside that for loop, okay? After exiting that for loop, you will again write a for loop, go until index 1 and fill the first two items in an array, then you will have result. So here's what lodash basically does. Underscore map x with age, underscore take 2. So these functions are really powerful. Mapping is a function that takes an input, does something to it, and returns an output. So maps actually work on objects and arrays and collections and everything. Okay. 90% times you have arrays, but there are some times you don't have arrays. For example, a function, inside a function, the argument variable, it looks like an array, but it's not an instance of array. You might have an object basically that has numbers as its keys and values. It is like array, but it's not really instance of array. The good thing with lodash is it works with collections. Anything that has a length property and has numeric indexes, it can treat as an array. So you can literally create an object, put a length property and numbered key values, and lodash will treat it as an array, right? So here what we really did is underscore map x. X is an array of object age. You can give a function here, you can give an iterator here, you can give a really complex thing which will do your mapping. If you simply give a string here, lodash will pick that property. So the resultant is an array with the ages. Okay. Next thing we do is take from y 2, and this is the result. So I did not need to write complex for loops to iterate the array and go deep inside those objects and fetch some properties. what you are looking now and what is being promoted now is functional programming basically. This is an example of functional oriented programming. You write functions, you compose them and simply provide your input and the data is as you expected. This is a bit take away from the, departure from the object oriented programming. So Lodash, what it promotes is a functional programming, the functional style of programming basically. And JavaScript is such a language that you can convert it to a object oriented language. You can use it as a functional language if you wish. Because JavaScript treats functions as first class citizens and JavaScript everything is an object. So both features from the both of the words you get here, right? So Lodash lets you transform collections. So collections of objects, collections of strings. You have an array of strings. You want to convert R to the uppercase or reverse them or shuffle them. You can use Lodash for that instead of writing your own for loops in which you are bound to make mistakes at least 20% of the time. Searching, right? Find something in an array. Test if this thing is included in an array. Or find all the matching items in an array. For loop required, right? Finding something weak in an object or an array of object. For loop required. But here's the simple underscore find x matcher. So anything with name Cole will be wrong. Here's the result. Here, instead of an object, a pattern matcher or property matcher, I can give in a function which will decide that it is the matching object or not. So most languages don't have this feature. Even Java will not have you collection dot find a simple thing, right? JavaScript, you cannot find or search between arrays. You can't treat them as database records basically. But with this library you can actually. You can search through your data.